Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm CodyPunk05, and in today's video I'm going to be covering the F-89B and D in the American Premium tree. The F-89B and D both sit at the same BR of 7.3, which puts them at a pretty good location, or they can actually be pretty competitive, or at least the F-89B can. So when we go into the modifications for the F-89B here, we can see it actually has 6 20mm cannons, which is quite impressive for an aircraft that's at 7.3, or rather any aircraft short of the Phantom with the 3 20mm Vulcan cannons. Unfortunately, it does not have any ordnance though, so you're going to be having a little bit of trouble if you're trying to ground strike with this thing, which I don't really see why you would. Okay, let's hop into the test flight here and see how this aircraft performs. So as you can see, it has the new feature of engines not having a constant burner on, which is always good. And this thing does actually have an afterburner, so it actually does have very good performance, of course at the cost of extra fuel usage. And because of how big the wings are too, it makes this aircraft very maneuverable, and it takes off very quickly, as you can see here. Yeah, it was that, taking off at like, so yeah, 245 or something like that. Okay, so in the X-ray here, you can see it has wingtip fuel, which is sort of a good thing, sort of a bad thing, makes your roll rate worse, but can improve, of course, fuel time, especially for an aircraft with an afterburner. And you saw on the nose there, it actually had a radar. Unfortunately, that radar is a pretty bad radar and only works at very close range. And also, of course, you saw the 6 20mm cannons, which have 1,200 rounds, which is actually very, very good. So let's go and get this MiG-15 over here. Okay, we're now pressing this MiG-15 here. We're at 0.83 kilometers. And man, the 20mm just absolutely shred the MiG over there. Yeah, they're very good, and you still have plenty of ammo to spare after a kill or two. And the 20mm fire surprisingly fast for a lower BR American aircraft with 20mm. I'd say they probably fire faster than the P-61, but I'd actually have to check what kind of cannons they are because, dev server's closed. Now I'm voicing over this whole thing in post. So I think, let's test out the maneuverability of it now. Unfortunately, my pilot here in the test flight, because I don't actually have it trained to one of my crew slots, is kind of bad, as you can see here. But I think we can still effectively kind of see how this thing performs. So, ignoring the crew, the logging, it seems like it's a slightly less maneuverable P-59, which is both how the aircraft looks and seems to perform as well, although it is actually quite a fast aircraft. You can get it easily up to its top speed in a flat, and if you put it in even like a slight dive, you can get it to its red speed of like upper 900s very, very quickly, which is quite impressive for a straight wing aircraft that has what appears to be an absolute ton of drag. Of course, you'll be able to straight flow armored cars and stuff. That's a given from pretty much anything that has guns. So let's move on to the F-89D. So the F-89D is very much different from the F-89B in its playstyle because it not only doesn't have guns, but also because of how the rockets are mounted on the wings, it just absolutely kills the roll rate, as you can see with many aircraft that have heavy wingtips. It's just not a good design style. So as you can see, though, it has 104 Mighty Mouse rockets mounted in the wingtips there. I mean, it's definitely a very cool way to mount rockets, and probably does wonders for the aircraft's performance compared to mounting that many rockets, say, under the wings, but the way that's done here, it destroys the roll rate. You can see the things are like almost over half the size of the actual fuselage here. And like I said before, it actually doesn't have guns, so it is incredibly ineffective if you want to bring this thing against almost any sort of enemy aircraft. Like if you bring this thing into Tank RB, you're gonna be having so much trouble fighting aircraft that try to fight you. I mean, sure, you could kill them with the rockets and such, but you're not going to be in a good situation here. So it's also a lot heavier than the F-89B because of the mass amounts of rockets there. it can still take off fairly quickly just because of how big the wings are, but you'll see once we get into the air, the thing just performs so much worse. So besides the lack of guns and the wingtip rockets, actually everything is basically the same. But yeah, you see as soon as we get into the air, the acceleration is much worse. The turn time is much worse. It's just a much more sluggish aircraft. It's like comparing a P-47 to, say, like a Zero, except the P-47 won't have the speed advantage either, and won't have guns. Okay, so I'm going to see how much damage the rockets actually do against ground targets. Of course, they're Mighty Mouses, so they're already in the game, but just test them out, because why not, right? Okay, so I mean, I got the kill there, but it really it's really hard to aim them because of how they're wingtip mounted. You have so much distance in between both of the streams of rockets. So I would definitely say it's very, very difficult to aim. I'm gonna try kind of like the orange style here that he used to do. Probably still does, or at least he did in his HVAR videos and such. Yeah, I cannot recommend this aircraft at all. You have to get the other aircraft first, and then you buy this one. So that means it's probably like 11,000 Golden Eagles in total to get this aircraft, which is, what is it, like $50 or more to get this plane? It's just absolutely not worth it. The rockets are hard to aim. They're not exactly very damaging rockets, and it doesn't even perform well in comparison to its other version of itself. Now, the one with the 20mm, the F-89B, I'd say is actually a very good premium vehicle because it performs actually very, very well. It's got turn time, it has a pretty good top speed, and the guns are absolutely devastating. I just can't say the same for this aircraft. Of course, you can spray them, but yeah, you really have to practice with this aircraft to make it perform decently at all. So yeah, I think that's about it for this dev video here, covering dev server and such, the F-89 versions here. Like I said, the F-89B, a very good aircraft, but the F-89D, it's bad. I cannot recommend it. It's a very, very poor aircraft. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this was informative and helped you make a decision if you're thinking about buying one of these vehicles. And I will see you in the next video.
The fury will fade and the images too. A world without you, that's what I need to do. So pardon me while you fade, whoever you used to be. And now